What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Lunchtablesports podcast. Today, we got my final mock draft of the year. There's so many rumors flying around. I just want to put out one final mock draft just try to be as correct as possible. I know there's gonna be, majority of this is most likely gonna be wrong. It is every year. There's so many trades that happen, but based off the current board, based off the reports I'm seeing, based off my own draft rankings, which if you haven't seen those, they're in the previous video. Watch that after this. I'm gonna be putting together my final mock draft. So, NBA Draft Eve, a lot of excitement gonna be going around. Woj this year said he's not gonna be tweeting out the picks, so he'll be a good follow to have on there. You might have to block Shams. He'll probably still leak the picks, but Twitter might be a little safer this year. But yeah, I just want to put that out there. Without further ado, let's hop in. Number one, no explanation needed here. He's been the number one pick for a year. It's pretty much it's been a year. He's been the number one pick, slotted in. He will be the number one pick for years to come. I mean, just redrafts, he probably most likely will be number one pick. Granted, he does not get hurt. I mean, his ceiling is a Hall of Famer. I mean, this guy is insane. I go more in depth about him if you watch the previous video. But yeah, number one, no explanation needed. It is Victor Wembanyama. Number two, so there's been a ton of rumors from our last mock draft. We had Brandon Miller in there. If you saw the last video, he's my number 3 prospect. I would go Scoot Henderson here. I think if you're the Charlotte Hornets, you take best player available. If you're picking 2 in the draft, you go best player available. But as of recent reports, it seems like Brandon Miller is the favorite to go number 2 to Charlotte. Woj tweeted out they really like his fit next to LaMelo Ball, a little bit better than Scoot Henderson's fit in that offense and that system. So yeah, it's looking like Brandon Miller could be the second overall pick. I was looking like Scoot Henderson for a little bit, but Woj kind of shut those rumors down quick. And it very well could be Scoot Henderson on draft night. But right now it's looking like Miller is going to be the number 2 pick. Pick 3 here, we got Portland. I think they really would want Brandon Miller to fall to them at 3, just based off of their timetable of winning now. It seems like they're still trying to win with Dame, which I think that's the wrong decision. If I'm Portland, I'm looking to trade Dame. I'm building around Scoot Henderson, but it doesn't look like that. Right now, it is Scoot Henderson for pick 3, but who knows if Portland's still going to be picking here on draft night. We've heard some rumors about possibly Washington trade up to 3 spot, although it's not looking likely now with the Bradley Beal trade. We've heard some rumors about New Orleans, possibly Brendan Ingram or Zion trade trying to get up to 3. So who knows? And even then, I think Scoot Henderson is still the right fit here. He's just too good to pass up. He's pick 3. Pick 4, we got the Rockets. A lot of rumors about what the Rockets are going to do. Right. It was between Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore for the longest time. It looked at one point like Cam Whitmore really could be the number 4 pick. But based off, again, recent reports from Woj, it looks like they really like Amen Thompson's upside. Again, these reports could be false. I'm just going based off what I'm hearing and my big board, which I do think Amen Thompson's a good talent. I'm not as high on him as everyone else, but I do think he's going to be really good in the NBA. Really smart point guard, really instinctive point guard, really good at getting to the rim. So I think getting him as this distributor in this Houston Rockets young core would be a good pick for them. So we'll see what they do in draft night. Pick 5 here, got the Pistons. If you would have watched the rankings, I'm pretty high on Taylor Hendricks and Cam Whitmore. I really like Jarace Walker and Asor Thompson too. I like those guys a little bit better though. Based off reports, it's looking like the Pistons really are between Jarace Walker and Asor Thompson, though. They really, really like the upside of both those guys. I do, too. I would not be mad if they win Jarace Walker at all, and that's who I'm actually going to have them mock to them. I think Jarace Walker would slot in, be that power forward spot, and he's a modern-day big or a modern-day power forward. He can shoot. I think he'll be a better shooter in the NBA than he was in college. Really, really good defensively. I saw the stat last night, actually. He's the only player in college basketball with 35 plus steals, blocks, and 3-pointers made, which is pretty impressive stat for a guy his size. So going with him, they need that defensive animal. He's also a pretty good distributor, which he doesn't get enough credit for. I think really good passing the ball, finding those lanes for other guys. So yeah, pick 5, Jarace Walker. 6, I have the Orlando Magic selecting Asor Thompson from the Overtime Elite League. Sky's the limit for this kid. Same with his brother. Asor Thompson's really, really good defensive prospect, one of the better, probably top 5 perimeter defender in the draft. He's got great handles and he's a really good distributor. I think Amen Thompson gets a lot more credit for that passing than Sor Thompson does, but don't let that take away from the fact that Sor Thompson is a really good passer. And I think he will be a better shooter out of the Thompson twins. His at the rim finishing and get it to the hoops a little more questionable than his brother. But I think all around his shooting will be better and his defense will be better. Pick 7, I got Indiana selecting Taylor Hendricks, power forward UCF. It's looking like Indiana would really like Taylor Hendricks if Trace Walker isn't there. Hendricks is a great shooter, great 3-and-D guy, block shots, really, really, really lengthy, great athlete. He'll slide right into that power forward spot for Indiana. And Indiana's, again, a team who I'm pretty excited to see next year. So good pick here for them. 8, I have Washington selecting Anthony Black, point guard from Arkansas. If you saw the rankings, I'm not the biggest fan of Anthony Black. I absolutely love Cason Wallace. I would take Cason Wallace here, but it seems like Anthony Black's floor is Washington. It seems like they're really fixated on him coming in and being that point guard for them. Really, really good at, just finding lanes for guys, directing traffic, managing the game well. He's a 6'7" point guard, really lengthy. Good defender, not great. But yeah, getting him at 8, I don't know if it's the best pick for them, but certainly a position of need going forward. Pick 9, I have the Utah Jazz selecting Cam Whitmore from Villanova. So this is one of the biggest fallers in comparison to my last mock draft. Him going 5. But there's been a lot of reports that there's big question marks around Cam Whitmore's game, and there is. The NBA draft scouts are have been taking notice of. And I've seen him falling a lot in a lot of recent mock drafts. In my opinion, he's top 5 talent in the draft, number 5 for me on my big board. And I could see those comparisons, especially, his assist to turnover ratio is not the best, but if your Cam Whitmore's available at 9, 100%, if you're Utah, you got to take that chance. You have, your forwards with Cam Whitmore, Markkanen, Walker Kessler. That's a great bottom 3. I mean, could be one of the best in the leagues in years to come. But yeah, Cam Whitmore 9, great value. Pick 10, I have the Dallas Mavericks selecting Derek Lively, center from Duke. Again, I mean, this is another, I feel like I've brought this up a lot, but recent reports, it looks like Derek Lively could go in the top 10. Teams might have to trade up to the top 10 to get him. Who knows if Dallas can be picking here, whether they trade that pick for an established veteran to come in and help their backcourt duo of Kyrie and Luka. But based off last year, offense was not the problem for Dallas. It was defense. And Derek Lively is one of the best paint defenders in the draft. He shut that down that lane at Duke. Switched on and off between 3s, 4s, and 5s. Can defend the perimeter. Good for a big guy. I mean, you don't see big guys like that moving around like he does. He's a lot of threat offensively. He has that 3-point shot that really looked good at his pro day, which he wasn't able to show off in college. But I do think he'll be able to show that off a lot more in the NBA. So Dallas here at 10, just taking one of the better defenders in the draft, would be a great fit for them if they end up picking here in the draft. 11 here, I got Orlando selecting Grady Dick, shooting guard from Kansas. This is a shooting pick. They lacked 3-point shooting. They're one of the league's worst in 3-point shooting attempts and percentage last year. Grady Dick can help that immediately. He's a great shooter, really lengthy athlete. Matching him up with Asar Thompson, when you get Asar Thompson's defense and just passing vision, matched up with Grady Dick shooting, it's just a great balance of 2 abilities you need on the basketball court at 6 and 11 for Orlando. So I would really like this draft for them if that happened in real life. 12 here, one of my favorite guys I got below Kulabi, OG Anunoby clone, in my opinion. Really, really similar games. If you're OKC, you don't really need to take a guy who's forced to start right away because they already have the plethora of young talent already. I mean, he's going to go into a great young core. He won't be rushed to play right away because of all the guys drafted before him. OKC's got so many first-round picks over the next years, so he'll join a team that's going to be good in the next couple of years. They're going to be patient. They got a really good developmental staff. They can fix his 3-point shot a little bit, but his defense is undeniable. Great defender, one of the better defenders in this draft. So Kulubi at 12 is a good gamble for them. 13, I got the Toronto Raptors selecting Kobe Buffkin from Michigan. Kobe Buffkin, one of the better perimeter defenders in this draft. I really liked him at Michigan. I do like Cason Wallace better, but it seems like the league's not as high on Cason Wallace as I am. But yeah, Kobe Buffkin really knows how to get to the rim. One of the best efficient guards at the rim. I think he shot around 70% at rim attempts. The 3-point shot is coming around too. So I really like Kobe Buffkin here at 13 for Toronto. 14, I got the New Orleans Pelicans on the clock, and I got selecting Jordan Hawkins from UConn. I expect Hawkins to be in the lottery. He is definitely a lottery talent for me. His shooting is just amazing. One of the best shooters in the draft. Number 2 all time in 3-point shots made at UConn, just behind the great Ray Allen. New Orleans is 29th in the NBA in 3-point shots last year. So I think Hawkins immediately bolsters up this 3-point shooting, whether he starts or comes off the bench. So yeah, I really like this pick for New Orleans. 15 here. 15, I got Atlanta selecting Jet Howard. This might be a little bit of a surprise pick, but I really think Atlanta just needs to hammer home as much talent as they can, and he's one of the more talented guys in the draft. He can immediately help that playoff push for them. Just provides shooting off the bench, which you can never have enough wings in the NBA. If there's one saying in the draft, you can never have enough wings, and Atlanta really has that theory. There's rumors about potentially them trading John Collins and DeAndre Hunter this offseason. So I think if that comes true, they really need to upgrade that small forward position. You already got AJ Griffin, you got Sadiq Bey. Just add in Jet Howard as another bench piece. That bench is looking really good. 16 here, I got the Utah Jazz selecting Cason Wallace, point guard from Kentucky. Wallace is a stud, absolute stud. Top 10 player in the draft for me. Drew Holiday, comp for him all the way. The best perimeter defender in this draft, without a doubt, in my opinion. He's going to be really good in the NBA. He's got that 3-point shot, which looked really good before that back injury at Kentucky. He sees assists, really, really good point guard there. Started every game for Kentucky. So if you're Utah, get him a 16. You're getting your starting point guard long term. If you have Cason Wallace and Cam Whitmore in this draft, you won the draft. So if Utah is able to pull that off, that would be insane. 17th pick here, I have the Los Angeles Lakers selecting Keontae George, shooting guard from Baylor. George is just a great scorer. Great feel for the game, great shooting. He's provides shooting for the Lakers. They might lose Austin Reeves in free agency, but you can replace that with Keontae George, who has great shooting, great playmaking ability, can open up shots for himself and others. So I really like that pick for Los Angeles. 18 here, I have the Miami Heat selecting Jalen Hood-Schifino, guard from Indiana. I don't really think they have that long-term point guard option on their roster. We've heard some rumors about them possibly trading for Dame. Really searching for that point guard market. So if they aren't able to find them, I think Jalen Hood-Schifino could be a long-term point guard for Miami. We saw Gabe Vincent what he did on that playoff run. He was really good, but I just don't see him being a long-term starting point guard in the NBA. Kyle Lowry getting up there in age, so you really need to find that long-term point guard. I think Hood-Schifino can be it. 19, we have the Golden State Warriors. Colby Jones from Xavier. I think Colby Jones could just help that playoff push immediately. Seems like the Warriors are really trying to win now. He can come off the bench, be that scorer for the Warriors. I think he'll go higher than expected in the draft. I really like him as an NBA-ready guy. So Colby Jones here at 19. I like that pick a lot. We're here, number 20. Houston Rockets are on the clock, and I have the Houston Rockets selecting Maxwell Lewis from Pepperdine. Maxwell Lewis, one of the more underrated guys in the draft for me. We've heard rumors about them really wanting a wing at 20 who can shoot, and that's exactly what Maxwell Lewis is. He's a shooting wing, can drive, freaky athlete, solid defender. So I really like this Maxwell Lewis pick for the Houston at 20. 21, I have the Brooklyn Nets selecting Nick Smith Jr., point guard from Arkansas. I don't think they have the long-term point guard option on this roster. We saw Spencer Dinwiddie get traded to the Nets midseason. He was kind of their point guard. Probably will be next year, unless there's a trade or something that happens. But Nick Smith Jr. can be the long-term point guard. If everything works out, he's got so much upside. It just seemed like this was a disaster of a season for him at Arkansas. He's a top 10 talent. Going into the draft, he was projected to go top 3 in this draft, right alongside Scoot and Wemby. We just saw him battle injuries at Arkansas, which is so unfortunate. And he just didn't look smooth when he came back. He had flashes. He had games where he went off when you could see his potential. But I think the injuries and just inconsistent play his freshman year warrants him to fall out of the top 20. But I think for the Nets, you can gamble on his upside. You got guys out there already who can mentor him. So I really like him going to the Nets. Again, I have another, kind of taking a flyer on a guy here. The next selecting James Najee. And we saw the Nets just get absolutely manhandled by Joel Embiid in the playoffs. Joel Embiid dominated that team, and there was really no one behind Nick Claxton. You had Day'Ron Sharpe, Dorian Finney-Smith, mainly playing power forward though, but no one really was putting up a fight besides Nick Claxton against Embiid. I think Najee adds you much needed center depth on that team. So yeah, super excited about this pick. If that were to happen, it gives you a really good center rotation. Maybe you don't want to extend Nick Claxton. Maybe you're not really ready to commit that money. James Najee can be your long-term center. Pick 23, I have the Portland Trailblazers selecting Chris Murray from Iowa. I really like Chris Murray. I think he's gone a little bit under the radar to some people, but he's got scoring abilities undeniable. I think if Portland's going Scoot Henderson at pick 3, that's a little bit of a younger guy. Maybe not as NBA ready as some other guys in this draft, although I think he will be. You're going to go with a veteran guy like Chris Murray if you're Portland, still trying to make the playoffs, can immediately help you in this playoff push. 24, I have the Sacramento Kings selecting Omax Prosper from Marquette. I really like Omax Prosper in this class. If you saw my big board, I was pretty high at him. Great defender, great offensively, and just rim running and being that floor spacer if need be. Absolutely dominated the combine. Great. He shut it down after one day of scrimmages, which already tells you that he might have received a pre-draft promise to a team. So 24, Omax Prosper. Really like that pick. 25, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. Selecting Brandon Prozimski, guard from Santa Clara. He immediately feeds into your guard rotation, especially with Ja Morant being suspended for the first 25 games of the year. I really liked him at Santa Clara. My comp for him, it was Austin Reeves. Really good shooting. And yeah, I really like this fit for the Grizzlies here. 26, Indiana. I'm selecting Leonard Miller from Canada and the G League Ignite team. I really like Leonard Miller's upside. I view him as a top 20 guy in this draft. Just the way this mock draft fell, I had him falling a little bit. But you took Taylor Hendricks at 7, which is a little bit of a safer pick. So I think you can take a swing on a guy here at 26 if you are Indiana. And Leonard Miller being here, I think that's exactly the guy that can do that. 27, I have the Charlotte Hornets selecting Noah Clowney from Alabama. I really like Clowney's game. More of that rim protecting guy, power forward, get bored, block shots. So really like him. Immediately enters the power forward rotation. You got PJ Washington there, but you can add Clowney. Selecting, Brandon Miller's teammate at 27. So you got a little bit of fun storyline right there. Kai Jones, JT Thor weren't exactly the best draft picks. A little bit of a disappointment so far. So just getting Noah Clowney there. 28. I got the Utah Jazz selecting G.G. Jackson, power forward in South Carolina. I really like G.G. Jackson a little bit more of the guys in this class. You can take a swing on him. He drafted 2 really good prospects in Case and Wallace and Whitmore. You take a swing on a little bit of a raw guy like G.G. Jackson. I really like his upside that he has. Number 1 recruit in class of 2023, reclass of 2022. And yeah, just he can space the floor a little bit. He can post up a little bit. He's got a little bit of everything in his game, and I really like that pick for Utah at 28. 29, I have Indiana selecting Dariq Whitehead, small forward from Duke. He offers you instant shooting, floor spacing. You can never have enough wings. And finally, I have the LA Clippers selecting Jaime Jaquez Jr., small forward from UCLA. I think they want a more college-ready guy to help them one away, and that's exactly what Jaime Jaquez is. Best available guys. I'm going to go pick 31. I'm a Pistons fan. Pretty much the last first-round pick, he's pick 31. And I got them selecting Bryce Sensabaugh. Reason I have him falling here is there's a lot of reports that teams are pretty concerned about his knee injury, and he did battle, which is really unfortunate because, you hate to see injuries play a factor in guys' draft position. But if Bryce Sensabaugh is available at 31 for the Pistons, you absolutely need to take that shot. He's a top 25 guy in this class, got a first round grade on him. If it wasn't for the knee injuries, he'd be higher for me. But yeah, amazing talent. That wraps up today's video. Here you kind of see my whole first round draft plus, the Pistons pick. And yeah, really fun draft year. Had a blast scouting these guys, all the rumors leading up to the draft. It's going to be an absolutely chaotic draft. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. If you didn't enjoy, Without further ado, I'll see you in the next video.